Good morning, everyone. Range anxiety is no longer a thing with electric vehicles because BYD, with their new Atto 3 crossover SUV, gives you 480 kilometers of range in a single charge. We're going to be taking all of these Atto 3s right here, including some of the Hands and the Tanks and even the Dolphin, to Baguio. So Baguio is around 250 plus kilometers or so, and there's a lot of uphills and winding roads. So we'll be able to test out just how truly good the range is on this car. We're going to be starting off from BGC here in AC Motor Centrale, or AC Mobility now that is. We're going to be taking this car number 3. And just so you know, all of the Atto 3s right here, these are the premium variants, again with 480 kilometers of range. There's also a lower variant with just 410 kilometers, but even that one honestly is still more than enough. And you know, back then, we would ask, aakyat ba yan ng Baguio? And we're talking about the power of the vehicles, right? But we all know that these electric vehicles, they have insane amounts of power with instant torque and all that. So the question now is, aakyat ba yan ng Baguio in a sense that will the range get you there? And again, in this video, we're gonna prove that it will. Carlos gonna be doing the first leg. So this is Carlos Divino from BYD Atto, and he was telling me something. And what was that, Carlos?
Normally, if this was a gas car, I'd start it up now for the aircon. But you know, since it's an electric car and we're going to Baguio, I probably won't start it just yet.
But Carlos, this has 480 kilometers of range, so you shouldn't be scared because Baguio is only like 250 plus kilometers.
Well, you know what? Let's just start it.
Let's go start it. He's gonna press it. Did you even hear it start?
Nope.
That's it.
Full electric.
Now you can hear now. I'm putting the mic near the air vent, so it's on. The radio's on. Everything's on, and we're not really wasting too much when it comes to range.
Alright then, let's
Alright then. Alright then. Okay. I'll see you guys in a bit. We're driving the Atto 3 right now in rush hour BGC traffic, and this is really where these electric vehicles shine. While they can still do highway runs pretty okay, they're not as efficient as they are inside the city, right? But since again, we have 480 kilometers of range, we shouldn't really worry too much, even though we're gonna have a pretty long stretch of a highway run later on. But yeah, we'll just see how it goes. So just to be transparent, we are starting off with 475 kilometers of range, and this is with 98% of battery left. We are currently here right outside, which is Forbes Park, right? Yeah, Forbes Park. And also, there's CarPlay, by the way. Just swipe down from here. You'll see that we are doing fan speed 2 and 22 degrees. So we're not eco running this car too much. And we're going to test out the range in normal use, just like this. So we're here at our first stop now. This is Total in San Simon, and we still have 86% of battery left. So we've only lost 14%, even though this is already pretty far. And do take note, NLEX wasn't smooth sailing. There were a couple of construction. We had to zipper lane. Traffic buildup was pretty bad. So far 14%, that's pretty impressive. And to prove that to you, I won't even be doing B-rolls. I'll just go straight into the car. I'll start it. Again, this very nice push start button. Nice animation. And we are looking at, here we go, 416 kilometers of range left and 86% battery. Not bad at all. It's my turn to drive the BYD Atto 3 Premium now, and we are at around quarter of the way into TPLEX, and right now I have 300 kilometers of range left and 62% battery life. Now this is pretty good because during the whole drive we were pretty much just having a little bit of fun with this car. We were flooring it once in a while. Of course, if you drive an EV, you do want to floor it because you get instant torque, and this is no exception. So what you have here is 204 horsepower and 310 Newton meters of torque, which is pretty substantial for a car of this size and weight. And you can really feel it with this car. You don't even need to put it into sport mode anymore. It is a pretty peppy car. Now, for the rest of the driving impressions right here, first of all, what I'm feeling is the steering. It is a little bit loose. I do find myself having to do micro corrections once in a while, but that was easily remedied by putting the car into sport mode. For the suspension, this is where it gets a little bit weird. Now, when you do want to do like evasive maneuvers and so, you find that the tail of the car is a little bit playful. But also, the ride itself, it's a little bit firm. Now, don't take this firmness as a negative. It's not an uncomfortable car, but you will really feel that it's not one of those floaty vehicles that you would usually get in this segment, at least for the ICE cars in this segment, right? So, yeah, that's about it for now. It's pretty quiet too, by the way. We were doing the speed limit earlier and you can barely hear any wind noise, which is also pretty odd because usually when you drive these electric vehicles, because of just how quiet it is, because you don't have the rumble of the engine, you'll start to hear the wind noise a little bit more as well as the tire noise. But for this one, no, it's super quiet. And yes, this rides on Chaoyang tires. So can you imagine if you slap on a set of even better tires with this one, just how quiet it will be. I think I had a little bit too much fun driving this car because after I drove, Carlos took over and now we are at the end of TP Lex, Rosario. We're about to go up Baguio in a while. And we are at 43%. What's our range again, Carlos?
204 kilometers.
204 kilometers. So still more than enough. We're practically in Baguio already at this point and we still have like about half of the car's range. So we are making a stop here at the Shell Mobility Station in TP Lex Rosario, and there is a charging station here. So just in case you guys want to come to Baguio in, how do I say this, lesser ranged electric vehicles, well, then here is your option. But we're just doing a quick stop over here just to demonstrate how this whole charging system works. So this is what the charging station looks like, right? So you can do up to 180 kilowatts. So this is like super fast charging right here. And this uses the CCS2 plugs, which is perfect for the BYD Atto 3 because as you can see right here, there we go. That is compatible with what they have here at the Shell Mobility Station. And I think we're going to be plugging it in a while just to like demonstrate it. But we don't really need it. So from 42%, for example, like in the case of our car, it will only take you around 56 minutes to go to 80%, right?
Yeah.
Just to go to 80%.
You'll notice it comes out when you see it go to 1 minute. That's right. You'll see 1%, 1 minute. Yeah, it's a quick.
1% a minute.
Yeah, that's how fast this charger is. The lower part is the fastest. When you get to the top end, it's a little slower, right? So it's really good for people to know that they got these two superchargers here. She'll recharge. After this, I'll show you the one that's 22.
What's the 22?
This is up to 180 kilowatts. That one is up to 22, slower.
It's slower over there. So you have two options here. You have the 180, which is the one over here, and right there at the back, that's only 22 kilowatts. So this is how simple it is. They just pick up that thing and just plug it into the car. And in case you're wondering how much charging up costs here, well, for this 180 kilowatt charger, you're paying around 35 pesos, not around, exactly 35 pesos per kilowatt. If you want the slower chargers there at the back, the 22 kilowatt chargers, those will set you back only 28 pesos per kilowatt. But is it worth it? I don't know. I'd probably just stick to this much faster 180 kilowatt. For the sake of this demo, we've charged up our car from 42% to 55%. So that represents a 13% addition or increase. So once we get to Baguio, once we get to our final destination, we're just going to be subtracting 13% from our final percentage to give you a more or less somehow accurate reading of how many percentage it takes for the BYD Atto 3 to go from Manila to Baguio. So now we've made it all the way here in Forest Lodge. This is inside Camp John Hay, and we still have 26% or 126 kilometers of range left. Remember how we topped up 13% earlier at the Shell station? So let's say we just have 13% left or 60 plus kilometers left. That is still more than enough for you to drive to your charging stations or in SM or any of the malls here wherein you can recharge your vehicle ready for when you're going home to Manila. But now let's talk about why your percentage is so low. if BYD Philippines quoted us 480 kilometers in a single charge. Well, do take note that we did accelerate this car so much. We had so much fun with this, and we did go uphill, we did go up an entire mountain, so that does explain the range that we have left. But now that we're here though, let's just talk about how this car is. Let's give it a quick first look impression. So from the outside, the BYD Atto 3, size-wise, it's about the same size as a Toyota Corolla Cross, more or less. And in front, it has that same design language as the BYD Dolphin. It's a little bit more playful, it's a little bit more childish, if I might say. But yeah, I kind of like the look of it. If anything, this looks a little bit more like a Dolphin compared to the BYD Dolphin. I also really like how there's some like blue accents there by your LED headlights. Here on the side for this more expensive variant, you get 18-inch rims. But they are wrapped in a set of Chaoyang tires. And frankly, so far, I don't really like the Chaoyang tires because of how much torque this car has. Those tires can't really keep up. Now, in line with that more Dolphin-like look, if you take a look at the rear of this car, yes, it does look a little bit more aquatic looking. Not to mention that this particular color that is in, it's called surf blue. But anyway, since this is a crossover SUV, you would expect a little bit of trunk space, and yes, as you can see, there is more than enough trunk space here for maybe 4 people's luggages or bags for a day or two inside Baguio. It honestly isn't too big, but if you really do need extra space, you can still remove the slight parcel cover over here to expand it a little bit further. Open up this false floor of yours, and there is even additional storage in here. Usually, you're barely gonna get any more storage because of the battery, but yeah, it's not here, so you are good to go. That very playful and oceanic nature continues here on the inside because the design here, yeah, it screams it's from the ocean. Look at all the blue that you have in here. You get pretty nice materials too. I'm noticing a lot of leather bits on it. There's also a lot of soft touch materials, and even your door handle, that looks like the tail or the fin of some aquatic creature. The steering wheel design though, it's very interesting. I wouldn't say that it's weird, I just say that it's a little bit on the quirky side of things. There's so much shapes here which I've never seen, and even the shifter of yours, it's giving some sort of a jet fighter like thing. Then you have your air vents, right, which again, it's very eccentric. I'm not sure if it matches the overall appeal of this car, but yeah, that's what you have, and at least you are very unique. You have a digital instrument cluster. It's tiny though, it's only 5 inches big, but it still does display all your pertinent information. And by the center, you have a 14.8-inch touchscreen. And what's awesome about this is a BYD thing. There's a button you press either here on the screen itself or on your steering wheel. It rotates the entire thing. Now, you can't really seem to do any sort of thing with it in portrait mode, not even CarPlay, but I think for like the Chinese versions of the Atto 3, you can even watch Chinese TikTok. But anyway, that aside, this screen's pretty impressive because at least, even for a Chinese car, it comes with wired Apple CarPlay and wireless Android Auto. That's virtually unheard of. So now, to answer the question again, aakyat ba ng Baguio ang BYD Atto 3 Premium? The answer is yes, it will. And it's not because of how much power it has, which by the way, it has a lot of, but because it has more than enough range to get up here. Although do take note that once you get here, you do have to go for a recharge at the nearest mall or recharge station. Now, if you're interested in getting one of these BYD Atto 3 Premiums, that's gonna set you back a pretty respectable too, 1,798,000 pesos, which for an electric vehicle, that's honestly one of the more affordable ones in the country. Anyway, stay tuned for the full review on this car, which we'll hopefully be able to do very soon. And for now, let's end with that.